Have you ever looked around your city and thought, I can't do this anymore? The noise, the stress, the screens, all of it. You're not alone. More and more people are dreaming of living off the grid. But is it just a fantasy or a real way out? Welcome to the Untold X, where we explore the hidden paths and uncomfortable truths no one talks about. In today's episode, we uncover what it really means to leave the modern world behind, for good. Are you tired of the hustle and bustle of urban life? The constant noise, the pollution, the feeling of being just another cog in a giant machine? Dreaming of waking up to the sound of birds instead of blaring alarms, of fresh air and starry nights? It's a dream many of us have. Escaping the rat race, embracing a simpler life, living off the grid. But before you pack your bags and head for the hills, before you trade your laptop for an axe and your smartphone for a compost heap, there are some hard truths you need to face. Before you make the leap, here's what you need to know about going off-grid for life. The desire to go off-grid, it's a powerful call. It speaks to something primal in us, a yearning for self-sufficiency, for a life lived closer to nature. But often this desire is fueled by a desire to escape. We might be running from the pressures of city life, from financial burdens, from failed relationships, or the soul-crushing monotony of the 9-to-5. But here's the thing about escaping: you can't outrun yourself. Take Sarah, for instance. She was at the top of her game in the corporate world, big salary, fancy apartment, the works, but beneath the surface, Sarah was drowning. The relentless pressure, the long hours, the constant feeling of never doing enough, it was taking its toll. So Sarah did what many of us dream of doing. She quit her job, sold her belongings, and bought a one-way ticket to Alaska. She was determined to build a new life, an off-grid life, far away from the stress and demands of her old existence. She envisioned herself chopping wood, tending to her garden, living a life of peaceful solitude. At first, the novelty of it all was exhilarating. Waking up to the sound of birdsong, breathing in the fresh mountain air, feeling the sun on her skin, it was a world away from the concrete jungle she'd left behind. But as the initial excitement wore off, reality began to set in. Living off-grid is hard work, backbreaking, relentless work. Chopping wood wasn't just a romantic notion, it was a necessity, a daily chore that left her muscles aching and her hands blistered. And the solitude that had seemed so appealing, at first it became a heavy silence, amplifying the thoughts and feelings she'd tried so hard to escape. You see, Sarah hadn't addressed the real issues that were driving her desire to go off-grid. She'd simply traded one set of challenges for another. The stress of her corporate job had been replaced by the physical and mental demands of survival. The loneliness she'd felt in the city was now magnified in the vast wilderness. So, you're thinking about going off-grid, trading in city lights for starlight, concrete jungles for actual jungles. It's a bold move, a statement. But let's be clear, going off-grid isn't some romantic escape. It's a complete lifestyle overhaul. You're not just switching out your power company, you're becoming your own power company. You're your own plumber, your own waste management, your own everything. Let me tell you about Mike and Jenny. They were city folk through and through, but they had this shared dream of building their own sustainable off-grid home. They spent months researching, sketching plans and saving every penny. Finally, they found the perfect spot, a beautiful piece of land nestled in the woods. They poured their heart and soul into building their dream home, solar panels gleaming, rainwater harvesting system in place, a vegetable garden already sprouting with life. They were living the off-grid dream, or so they thought. Then came the winter. See, they hadn't factored in the shorter daylight hours, how the sun, their primary source of energy, would become a rare visitor. Their solar panels, so efficient in the summer sun, struggled to keep up. The lights dimmed, the refrigerator sputtered, and the romantic wood-burning stove, their only source of heat, became a full-time job to feed. Then there was the matter of water. Their rainwater harvesting system, a marvel of engineering, couldn't keep up with their needs, especially with the well frozen solid. Every drop became precious, every shower a carefully calculated exercise in conservation. Mike and Jenny learned the hard way that off-grid living is a delicate dance with nature. It demands respect, preparation, and a deep understanding of the elements. Test the dream before you commit to the life. Look, I know that yearning for a simpler life, that pull towards self-sufficiency, it's a powerful thing. But before you sell everything and head for the hills, I urge you to test the waters, to dip your toes into the off-grid life before you take the plunge. Think of it as a reconnaissance mission, a chance to gather intel before you deploy all your resources. Let me tell you about Tom. Tom was a graphic designer, chained to his computer, living in a cramped apartment. He dreamed of escaping the city, of building a cabin in the woods and living off the land. But Tom was a smart guy. He knew that transitioning from city slicker to seasoned outdoorsman wouldn't happen overnight. So he decided to test the waters. He booked himself a 30-day stay at a remote cabin. No electricity, no running water, no internet, just him, the woods, and his wits. The first few days were pure bliss. He woke up to the sound of birds, spent his days hiking, fishing, and chopping wood for his little stove. He felt a sense of peace he hadn't realized he was missing. But as the days turned into weeks, the challenges began to surface. Keeping the cabin warm at night was a constant battle. Finding enough firewood to fuel the stove became a daily mission, and the solitude, initially so peaceful, started to wear on him. By the end of the 30 days, Tom was exhausted but exhilarated. He'd faced challenges he never could have imagined, learned skills he never knew he needed, and discovered a resilience he didn't know he possessed. More importantly, he'd gained a newfound respect for the demands of off-grid living. He realized that while he loved the idea of a simpler life, he wasn't quite ready to give up all the comforts of civilization. Tom's 30-day experiment was a reality check. It allowed him to experience the challenges and rewards of off-grid living firsthand without making any life-altering decisions. And that's the beauty of testing the waters. It gives you the opportunity to learn, adapt, and make informed decisions about your future. The questions that reveal the truth. So you've heard the call of the wild, felt the pull towards a simpler life. You've seen the Instagram-worthy cabins, the self-sufficient families smiling from their vegetable patches. But before you dive headfirst into the off-grid life, I need you to ask yourself some hard, honest questions. This isn't about discouraging you, it's about preparing you, about making sure you're going into this with your eyes wide open. First, why do you want to go off-grid? Is it a romantic notion of escaping the rat race, or is it a deep-seated desire for self-sufficiency, for a life more connected to nature? Understanding your motivations is crucial because it will determine your commitment when things get tough, and they will get tough. Next, are you physically and mentally prepared for the demands of off-grid living? This isn't a weekend camping trip, it's a lifestyle that requires resilience, resourcefulness, and a high tolerance for discomfort. Are you ready to chop wood for heat, haul water for drinking, and deal with the elements head-on? Think about your skill set. Do you know how to build a shelter, grow your own food, or purify water? If not, are you willing to learn? Off-grid living is a constant learning curve, demanding adaptability and a willingness to embrace new skills. And what about your social needs? Are you comfortable with solitude, with limited human interaction, or do you thrive on community, on social connections? Finding a balance between self-sufficiency and social interaction is crucial for long-term well-being. Linda, a freelance writer, learned this the hard way. She'd always craved a simpler life, free from the distractions of the city. So she rented a cabin in the woods for a year-long sabbatical, eager to reconnect with nature and focus on her writing. At first she reveled in the peace and quiet. Her creativity soared, her senses heightened by the natural world around her, but as the weeks turned into months, a sense of isolation crept in. Linda, used to the buzz of city life, the daily interactions with friends and colleagues, found herself craving human connection. The silence that had once been so inspiring became oppressive. The solitude she'd craved now felt like a weight, amplifying her loneliness. Linda realized that while she cherished her independence, she also needed human connection to thrive. It was a valuable lesson, one that made her reevaluate her off-grid aspirations. Final thoughts. The truth about the off-grid life. The off-grid life. It's a siren song, a call to adventure, a rebellion against the modern world. And for some, it's a truly fulfilling way of life. But it's not for the faint of heart. It's a commitment, a daily challenge, a test of your resilience, resourcefulness, and adaptability. Remember, going off-grid isn't about checking out. It's about checking in. With yourself, with your capabilities, with the natural world around you. It's about stripping away the distractions, the conveniences, the noise of modern life and reconnecting with something more fundamental. But this simplicity comes at a cost. It demands hard work, constant vigilance, and a willingness to learn and adapt. You're not just switching out your energy provider, you're becoming your own energy provider. You're your own plumber, your own mechanic, your own everything. The truth is, the off-grid life is a delicate dance with nature. It requires respect, preparation, and a deep understanding of the elements. It's about learning to live in harmony with the land, to take only what you need and to give back whenever you can. But here's the thing about challenges. They can break you or they can make you stronger. They can expose your weaknesses or they can reveal strengths you never knew you possessed. And that's the beauty of the off-grid life. It pushes you to your limits, forces you to dig deep, and in the process helps you discover who you truly are. So if you're still drawn to the off-grid life, if the call of the wild still whispers to your soul, then prepare yourself. Educate yourself, test your limits, and above all, be honest with yourself about your motivations, your capabilities, and your expectations. Because the off-grid life is not a destination, it's a journey. And it's a journey best undertaken with courage, honesty, and a healthy dose of wilderness wisdom. Are you ready to trade the concrete jungle for the real deal? To swap your smartphone for a shovel, your laptop for an axe? The off-grid life is calling, but are you prepared to answer? If you're still curious and committed, don't sell everything and vanish yet. Consider a one-year transition plan. Spend weekends learning essential skills, building, gardening, basic survival. Immerse yourself in the off-grid community, attend workshops, connect with families who've made the leap. Learn from their experiences, their triumphs and their struggles. Remember, off-grid life is simpler but more demanding. It's about resilience, resourcefulness, and respect for nature. Are you ready for the challenge? Going off-grid is more than a decision. It's a confrontation with who you really are. If this episode stirred something in you, don't ignore it. Maybe it's your first sign to start planning your way out. Subscribe to The Untold X for more deep, raw explorations of the lives few dare to live. And remember, sometimes the most powerful escape is the one no one talks about.